So a few months back now, I had another fellow YouTuber reach out. Their channel name is Scanner Danner. You may have heard of them. They reached out and said they had an engine that had experienced a cam and lifter failure and were looking for somebody to go through the engine. So I do have the lid here on their crate loose, so we can go ahead and just pop that off and let's take a look at what's inside here. So the story goes, Paul has this engine in his 78 Power Wagon. He said the engine had been built by the previous owner maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Long story short, it probably has just a few thousand miles on it since it was rebuilt, and he experienced the dreaded flat tappet cam failure. He had already dug into this engine a little bit to diagnose cam failure, also had the heads off on at least one side and did see some rust in the cylinder. I kind of told him the easiest way for him to get this thing out to me would be to have it roughly, kind of loosely assembled, but in this video we're going to go through and kind of do a teardown of the engine and kind of get an idea of what we're working with. It's always interesting to see when you've been told by a previous owner that it had been recently rebuilt. It'll be interesting to see if we can tell if it really does look like it was recently rebuilt. There's also so many different levels of what rebuilt means to certain people. So we kind of sent it with all the accessories still on, because at the end of the build we'd like to, at the very least, run it on our stand. So this is kind of going to be an entire series on the build here, but right now I'm going to get it out into the other shop, kind of document what we have, and start tearing it down. We'll go get it on the teardown stand.
Before mounting the engine on the stand, I removed the flywheel, and with it mounted, I decided to kind of go through and get all of the accessories removed from the engine and stored away, since we really don't need any of them at this stage in the process. From what I was told, the previous owner of the engine said this was a 1972 413 truck motor out of an RV, which had reportedly been rebuilt before sitting for an extended period of time. It was listed as having a 1010 steel crank, 30 oversized pistons, a mild cam, and that the heads had been milled 100 thou to decrease the chamber volume. With all the accessories removed, we're down to the bare engine and can get down to business getting this thing apart. Again, a lot of this was loosely reassembled purely for shipping reasons, and if I understood correctly, he did have it torn down to the short block at one point and had dropped the pan to check out some of the bearings, but I don't believe he ever actually pulled any pistons. I'll be honest when I say we really don't do a lot of Chrysler motors in our shop, but I think the valve train here is stock in terms of the rockers and valve springs and retainers. There is a bent push rod, but that may have happened if he didn't get it in the right place when he reassembled the engine. We still need to do some planning for what direction we're heading with this engine, but there's a good likelihood that a lot of these components are going to be upgraded when this engine goes back together.
I believe that is the flat lobe up there. Just kind of glancing at it. Everything else looks to be okay. Just that very front lobe there.
We typically hear about flat tappet camshaft failures during the break-in process, but in this case, it sounds like the failure actually occurred after a few thousand miles of driving. There's a lot of things that contribute to flat tappet camshaft failure, and a lot of differing opinions to go along with it, so that's probably a topic for its own video in itself.
Wow. I rolled it over, and I guess there is some rust in that cylinder. The rest I think all look okay, but this one definitely has some rust down in there, so we'll have to see when we get a little further along what that looks like. Yeah, there's rust in the back cylinder here. Looks like it's really just this back cylinder here on this side that has the rust. And it's not, this side is not bad. I can't even feel it really. Again, there's a broken bolt in the damper that we'll have to deal with. Somewhere along the way it got broke. Was not my doing.
My understanding is that while Paul did check out all the lifters from the top side, he never had the camshaft out or the timing cover and timing chain off. It is a double roller timing chain with an adjustable crankshaft sprocket, which I'm assuming was put on when the previous owner installed the aftermarket camshaft.
Well, I didn't really mean to take the cam out right now, but timing gear didn't want to come off, so here we are. There's the lobe. I've definitely seen a worse wiped out cam lobe. I don't usually go to rolling them over at this point, but since the oil was drained out quite a while ago, I'm not as worried about a ton of oil dumping down through. Oil paying off. Blue paint flaking off inside the engine. Paint flaking off. That thing is full of paint. Just kind of a big scratch in that bearing. $2951168. I don't know for sure. That kind of sounds like a Chrysler number. I don't see an oversized stamped on these. Now the bearings look terrible. Crank looks pretty good overall. Looks about like a used crank. Doesn't look like a ton of metal went through it. When a cam goes flat, all that metal has to go somewhere, so it's good looking at the rod bearings at least. The rod bearings don't look terrible. We'll get the mains off here and see what the mains look like. Definitely not as crazy as the last teardown on the channel. That rear seal piece out. Nothing too crazy there. That one little scratch. Pretty deep. Still not crazy though. Whoa. That one definitely had something go through it. Those are really, really deep gouges. So that's number 4. Some pretty deep gouges there on the main bearings. Wow. Huh. It's kind of rough where they chamfered the oil hole. I almost wonder if that's what that's from. Interesting. AT-20 372. If that 372 means anything, this says 001 US 272. Rear main, a few scratches in it. That one looks fine. Thrust bearing. Looks completely normal. I'm genuinely curious with where that bearing is damaged and how rough the oil hole there feels. If I can get it to where it doesn't glare. Genuinely curious if that couldn't have something to do with that damage as opposed to metal having gone through it. You can call me a pansy all you want. I ain't lifting that out of there. It hurts my back too much. And we got a nice new 2-speed hoist. That is cool. Pretty slick. Great. Now I look like the freaking Tin Man. Kind of the same thing. All the main bearings look pretty good, with the exception of this middle one. Not middle, rather number 4. Which again has some scratches there, pretty deep scratches. I mean, those are gouges, not scratches. Again, AT20, 3 of 72. That 20 could mean 20,000 undersize. We'll have to measure the crank and see. But that 3 of 72 probably lines up with this being a 1972 block. So which is it? I wonder if by rebuilt they mean they literally just had a cam in it. So this has a Voodoo 102 30702. So we're gonna have to look at this cam, see how big of a cam this is. I don't know the numbers right off the top of my head. See if they did anything to the heads at all. I'm almost starting to suspect that a rebuild pretty much meant tossing a cam in and running it, and that's a recipe for a flat cam. So I'm gonna have to see if I can get more information from him before the next video, and we'll do some more talking about that. But that's kind of my guess right now. I got the galley plugs out in the back, cam bearings are out, back cam plug is out, that plug's out. So just taking a gander. I think I just read these are 41875 standard bore. I've got 4188 there. Yeah, 4188. So I'm gonna say these are still standard size, and those are factory pistons, which I thought they were looking at them because I didn't see any aftermarket markings, but I mean, it doesn't have a lot of wear on it, so it doesn't look terrible. But I would like to know what the history of the rebuild was, because that always means a lot. That can mean a lot of different things depending on who you're talking to. Now, this is the cylinder, the main cylinder of concern. Some of that rust pitting is pretty deep, so we'll have to get a good look at that once we have the block cleaned up. This rear cylinder is the only one that really has anything of concern. That, I think, I'm guessing would clean up just going oversized, but the pitting in this cylinder, it's pretty bad. So we're gonna have to get this thing cleaned up, check it out, and kind of talk with the customer and get a game plan and see where we go from there.
Based on the previous owner's testimony, the heads were milled to reduce the volume of the combustion chamber, and based on the looks of it, we do believe this is the case. Aside from that, they appear to be relatively untouched. There was one oddball exhaust valve, and what I'm guessing is a 60 thousandths shim under each of the springs, which may have been added if the seats were cut somewhere along the way. When everything's cleaned up, I would like to eventually check how close to coil bind the springs may have been running with the added lift of the aftermarket cam, as that may have contributed to the cam failure.
Alrighty, well, we have the 413 completely apart. Get the pistons pressed off the connecting rods, maybe get the rod bolts out so that we can get those baked and ready for resizing. If that's the direction we go, we still gotta kind of have a chat with the customer and see where we really want to go with this engine. But we've got the block here in the oven. It's getting ready to be baked. We'll go ahead and put the heads in there as well and some of this other stuff that we can get it baked, and then we'll blast it in our blast cabinet, get everything clean, and kind of do a once-over inspection after everything is clean, and then get with the customer and decide exactly where we're going to go with it. Kind of tough to see, but I think this thing is pretty untouched with the exception of that aftermarket cam that was put in. So, you know, it makes you wonder if it's one of these deals where they put the cam in and didn't really go about any of the supporting modifications that needed to be done, and that's part of why the cam went flat. But Anywho,
If you've watched our channel for a while, then you've probably picked up on the fact that there's actually quite a bit of math and science that goes into working on engines. While some of these topics can be a little bit intimidating, there's actually a free and easy way to develop a better understanding of them. Today's sponsor, Brilliant.org, lets you learn by doing, with interactive courses in math and science starting from the basics all the way up to some pretty advanced topics. Brilliant customizes content to match your skill level, with thousands of lessons that you can complete at your own pace, with new lessons being added every single month. A course that I love and would personally recommend to anyone who's interested in all things mechanical is the Scientific Thinking course, which brings a hands-on approach to learning how to think about the way that our world works. Brilliant is by far the best way to learn for busy people like myself, with bite-sized lessons that make it easy to develop a daily learning habit. To try everything Brilliant has to offer free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/JAMS or click the link in the description. The first 200 of you will get 20% off of Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Thank you to Brilliant for sponsoring today's video, and thank you for watching today's engine teardown. We'll see you in the next one.